This is Miss Jan from Boys and Girls Club. We're welcoming you to this session of our summer enrichment programs. Today, we're going to be doing a STEM activity. If you don't know what STEM is, it stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. Today, we're going to be doing an engineering scientific activity called wind-powered car. So we're going to be building a car out of the household materials that everyone should have. We're going to be discussing how things move, specifically cars and boats. We're going to be going over new vocabulary, and also we're going to be constructing our own car using our hands. Using the scientific method, we're going to watch, observe, take guesses, and just have fun and experiment with what we're doing. While we're at the club, we are not physically in person, so we want you to enjoy it as best as possible. So we encourage you to engage and participate fully and wholeheartedly. Like if you feel proud of what you made and you want to show everybody, you can take pictures, record it, and post it and upload it on the page, which we're going to be able to do soon. So now we're going to start. First off, I would like for you all to have parental permission. So if it's your parent or your guardian, make sure you have permission to be on the internet as well as being a part of this program. Secondly, everything that I have here as my materials and supplies, you should already have in the Club on the Go bag that you were provided. And if you don't, that's okay, because these things can be found around your house. If you don't have construction paper, you can use cardstock or vice versa. If you don't have this kind of tape, you can use this kind of tape or something like that. So this is very simple and easy to do. And so lastly, let's have fun. Like, this is a science experiment, and I get excited about science because that is my favorite subject, and I just love to know how things work, move, operate, and function, and all of that. So without any further ado, I want you to be ready, get pumped. Let's get started. So first, we're going to have cardboard. Our materials are cardboard. This, I'm not sure what size this one is, but if you have size like this cardboard, it's perfect for this because we're not gonna make a huge car. If you wanna make a huge car, that's fine. But for now, we're gonna start with the small ones, and just if you feel like you want to go, if you feel like you can go bigger, it's no problem. So if you don't have one, or if you have like cardboard boxes from, shipments that might have come in, and you can get that cut off, like close to this size or this size, it's possible, it's perfect. The next things you're gonna need are 2 straws, three wooden skewers or kebabs, so 1, 2, 3. As far as the paper is concerned, it doesn't have to be in a specific color, or just make sure it's either cardstock or construction paper. And what we're gonna do is cut the paper, cut a shape out of the paper. Next, tape. Doesn't matter what kind, as long as it sticks, and make sure everything stays in place. You're also gonna need 4 bottle caps from plastic bottles. Doesn't matter what size, but I would prefer the kind of like large or medium sized ones, like not the ones that you get on water bottles and stuff. So this is what these look like. Came from Gatorade bottles, so they're perfect for this one, as well as some scissors, sharp enough to cut something like layers or stuff. So even if you are old enough to use scissors by yourself, be very careful because you can easily cut yourself, you can easily injure yourself with sharp scissors and even with dull scissors. So just be mindful of that because we're going to be doing a good bit of using these scissors to build this car. So now that we have everything that we need, let's begin. What you're going to do first is take one straw and the other straw, line them up across, going horizontally of a long way. The cardboard, making sure that they're as even as possible. And these are going to be what you would call your axles. And we're going to take tape them down. Make sure your straws are parallel to each other, which means that they don't cross or intersect. So just make sure you have a long enough piece of tape so this tape will stick to cardboard. And use however many pieces that you need to. It's fine if you have more than one on each end. Just want to make sure that they do not move as much as possible, okay? So we're going to move on to the next axle. So I've taped this one crookedly, so I'm gonna pull it up and tape it down again. All right. So once you're finished, it should look something like this. Kind of looks like the car in its beginning stages. So going on to the next part, what you would have to do is take your bottle caps and your scissors, and we're going to be making a cross-shaped hole, which means the hole should look like this so that the skewers can go through them. And be careful with this part because sometimes if your scissors or whatever you're using isn't sharp enough to go through them, it could be hard and get pretty dangerous. So just make sure you're being careful with your cuts. And so that's the first wheel. So what you're going to do is take one skewer and put it in through the hole of the wheel, making sure that it's in as much as possible and that it doesn't move at all so the wheel doesn't fall off. So what you're going to do is when you're finished with that, like this, stick it through one axle or straw so it comes out on the other side, and then what you're going to do is take another wheel and put it in through the other end of the skewer. Now you're going to have to make a hole through that one as well. So just make your hole cross shape, and once you're finished, it should slide on easily if you made it big enough, and if you didn't, it's okay. You can just make a wider hole for it to slide through. So once you're finished with that, move on to the next straw or axle. Pick up a wheel. Make sure you have a cross-shaped hole in it. Take a skewer and push it through so that it's tight enough that the wheel will not move. Okay, seems pretty good. Next, you're going to do the same thing as the other one. Slide it through the straw. Take care of the last wheel. Make a hole big enough for the other end of the skewer to go through easily, but not too loosely so the wheel won't fall off. Yeah, I'm gonna need to add more tape on this because let's go with this one. I tried a different tape this time, but it seems that it's not working the way that I thought it would. So we're gonna have to align this up again, which is fine, perfectly fine. That's what experimenting and testing things out is all about. You learn and you apply what you learn to fix the problem. So I'm gonna add the other tape over, going like perpendicular, making a cross section just like we did with the holes in our bottle caps to make the wheels. Okay. Now should have went with this one first. But hey, don't know all things. So if you have to put it on top of the wheel to make it stay down, that's cool as well. Okay, that one's fixed. And yeah, if you would like, you probably could just tear off pieces or strips of tape before you begin, just to have backup just in case things like this happen. And I know people that would get frustrated about this happening because things aren't going as they planned, but hey, that's what happens sometimes in life. And boom, it works. So what we're going to do now is we have these ends sticking out, you know, longer than this side. So what we're going to do is make sure that first your wheels are lined up as evenly as possible. Then you're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut a notch or an indentation into the longer end of the skewer or axle to make it easier for you to break off with your hand. See? Easy. And going on to the second axle, do the same thing. Make sure just about the same size as the other piece that you took off. So if you have like sharp enough scissors to cut through these things, that's perfectly fine. But since, you know, I don't have sharp enough scissors to cut all the way through it without breaking them, I'm not gonna do that. So you should have what looks like this at the end. Okay, so our next step is to make our mast. And this is a part of a boat that causes the boat to move when the sail is attached to it. So it stands up in the air and it's supposed to be in the center of whatever it's attached to. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a hole in the center of the cardboard. Or as close as the center as you possibly can get it. So we're gonna make a hole and oh great. I probably should pick it up so that I don't put pressure on it against the table. Okay, so I found my center, or as close as the center as I can. I'm putting a hole in it large enough for the mast to get through. So now you're going to take your last skewer and put the dull end through the hole. And make sure you don't put it in too far, because if you do, it will cause like scraping and prevent the car from moving as freely as it could. So you're gonna anchor it or tape it down at the top and at the bottom. So you might want to test it before you tape it. So put it down like that, and if you feel whatever you're touching or the hard surface that you're doing this on, just pull it up just a tad bit so that it won't scrape and hinder or stop the car from moving. And you also would need a fan to make the car move, so make sure you have one of those fans that you can plug up to a wall and adjust the settings of the wind speed on it. So that would be ideal. And if you don't have that, you can just use, you know, your breath, your like the wind. If you have like a book or something, you can fan the car to see if it will move. Okay, that's the top part done, and now moving on to the bottom. Just sit this down. Look, it's already starting to move. I am excited for this. So, with the scientific method, there are 5 steps. So the first step is to form a question that you would like to be answered or solved, and form a hypothesis or a guess of how that problem or question should be solved. The third step is to test or experiment, which we are about to do now. And the fourth step would be, once you test it, observe and record, whether it be by recording yourself speaking or recording it with video or even writing it down. Those are all ways to record something. Just making record of what you see, hear, smell, touch, taste, whatever it is that you observe. Now, since that's stable, we're going to add our cell. So you should have cut out a piece already, but if you haven't, now is the chance to do that. The pointy end of the mask should be sticking up so you can easily slide on the cell. It doesn't have to be rectangle shape. You can cut out any shape you want. Just make sure you tell what shape you used, like that's not this shape, and tell us how, or show it to us how that cell worked for you. So first, we're going to put this end, and this is cardstock, by the way, that I'm using, on the mask, and just poke it through, and it's having a little trouble going through, so I'm not trying to break the mask, so I'm going to be gentle and careful here. Maybe I can poke a hole through it with my scissors. There we go. So, should slide on nicely, nice and easily. Because I poked a hole through the cardstock with my scissors. If you're using construction paper, it wouldn't be hard to do. But since I'm using a harder type of paper, let's see. It down so that I can pinpoint exactly where my hole should be for my cell. So I think I got it. Be very careful, like don't get your fingers in the way because you can stab or hurt yourself by doing this. So here we go. And voila, there's our cell, and here's our card, our finished product. And now we're ready to move on to our last step, which is the test. So after you're finished, you can move your card, your fan that you're using, and you just move this out of the way. Move this over here. Now, if you have a fan that can adjust speeds, I want you guys to just try and see like the different speeds and what happens. So, for example, setting it to a low speed and seeing how fast and how far it goes. Setting it to a higher speed if you can. But all that matters is that it moves. So what we're going to do right now is turn my fan on, which is right here, and let's see if it moves. And sometimes you might have to adjust the fan because the direction will not always be like where you want it or think it should be. So I think it started moving, but it stopped. Probably because the mast is scraping against the table. But as you can see, it did move, and it was moving. Yeah, there it is. It's moving. Awesome. So I didn't want it to roll off the table because, you know, it would have fallen apart. But as you could tell, our wind powered vehicle worked. And it's so awesome because you can make cool things like this at your own house, and you can actually have fun and enjoy making things with your own hands and experimenting and doing things like that. So I have for you guys a list of the words that I talked about, and I will give you like the proper definitions of them if you want to take notes. So if you would like to record on your phone, on your notepad, or your tablet or something like that, that's fine. It's not necessary, but this is just for you to add to your vocabulary so that you can, you know, recognize these words when they're written or read or spoken, and you can understand what is being spoken about. So the first word is hybrid, and that's the thing made by mixing or combining two different elements. So for example, this car has a sail and a mast that specifically comes from a boat, and it also has wheels and an axle which comes from a car. So these are two elements that are different, but they work kind of in the same way. And the next one is mast, M-A-S-T, which is a tall or upright post or structure that is used to harbor or for the sail on a boat or ship to be placed on. The next one is a sail, which is a material that is placed on the mast to cause a boat to move across water or of other vessel. And lastly, we have the axle, which is found on cars and most land vehicles, and they are made to go through wheels or a wheel, and oftentimes are rotating, but sometimes they can't be stationary. So I have a few questions for you guys to answer. If you would like to, you can write them in the comments below. If you want to write them down and take a picture of it and submit it, that's fine as well. But what the questions is what shape works best for the sail? What would happen if different material were used for wheels and sails? And lastly, what happens if you change the speed? So all these questions, you can submit them in the comments below. And I just wanted to tell you guys that I'm thankful that you shared your time with us, and I look forward to seeing you in our next week's video. Goodbye.